Hello and welcome to the Roundtable Weekly Wrap-Up. This is the first edition where we cover all things that have happened in the industry in the last week. I am Dredd and I'm joined by my good friend Luke.
Howdy everybody, good to have you back with us again.
Oh, that was a nice little intro. Howdy. So,
all right, should we get straight into it?
Yeah, let's get into it. So we've got a few topics. So as usual, we're going to keep it nice and loose. We're just going to talk over some topics and keep you guys in the loop on what's going on. And first of all, we're going to talk about Binance and some regulatory issues that they've been having recently. And we're going to start off with, well, I mean, this is a story that's kind of unfolded over the past, what do you say, the past month?
Yeah, it seems to really be picking up really.
Yeah.
Especially in the last few weeks.
A lot of moving pieces. So the latest one we've had is Clear Junction. So you can see here, Binance's key payments partner severs ties with embattled exchange. And we have Clear Junction, who are Global's payment solution provider. And they're no longer facilitating payments to Binance, which means no more pound or euro payments on Binance. And that was the latest one. You can see here from Adam Sampson. Clear Junction, which had been one of Binance's key payment partners in Europe, says it has decided to suspend... I've gone. To suspend both pound and euro payments and will no longer be facilitating deposits or withdrawals in favour of or on behalf of the crypto trading platform. So that was the latest one, right?
Yeah, there was one last week, I think, where they lost their SEPA deposits as well.
Yeah.
Plus the news from, I think it was Santander and Barclays saying they weren't taking, they were like stopping people from transacting or depositing on there as well.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that was another one.
So we have Barclays
so pretty crazy.
UK clients from sending funds to Binance. And
yeah,
like you said, Santander did the same thing, didn't they?
Yeah, I think that was the other one.
Then
which is pretty interesting.
Oh, like a big deal.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it goes without saying that Binance is probably like the number one exchange in the space right now on every metric. I would say volume, users, active users, open interest, assets to trade. I mean, it probably is like the number one in the world. And I think it is number one in the world because it's kind of a little loose when it comes to its, I can deposit and withdraw Australian dollars onto Binance, and I really haven't done any extensive KYC, I don't think.
Yeah.
But they do also have like non-KYC stuff as well.
Yeah, they grew so fast. I mean,
yeah,
we were there back in 2017 when they grew. It was so fast.
Yeah, I remember actually like swapping over to Binance because I feel like this is gonna sound really weird, but I feel like Data Dash. Do you remember Data Dash?
Yeah.
I reckon he mentioned it in one video. He's like, I'm moving from Bittrex to Binance, and I was like, checked out Binance. I was like, yeah, slick as.
Well, I remember.
But then now,
I remembered the first time I used. The only reason I signed up for Binance was because they listed IOTA, and IOTA was this like hot new coin that people were talking about, and Bittrex just weren't listing them. And then Binance were like, well, we'll do it. And then out of nowhere, everyone started moving to Binance, and then they were just listing all of the hottest new projects, and Bittrex weren't keeping up. And yeah, Binance just kind of took it and ran.
Yeah, they really did. I mean, I think it's the record for the fastest unicorn company.
Yeah,
I think that's right. So what's that? $1 billion valuation, I think.
Which is insane. That's insane when you think about it.
Yeah.
Like out of any company ever.
And the crazy thing is that you got to think the scale of Binance. Like they don't have a headquarters or anything like that. Like they're all online. I mean, it's really kind of like a thing of beauty. I mean, I can't even imagine like the support tickets and stuff. I mean, I know CZ's mentioned in the past that like one of the biggest pain problems as an exchange is like support tickets. And I mean, apparently there was like a backlog of like 80,000 support tickets at one point. Like that's a significant amount.
That'll fill a stadium.
So yeah, I know. Like it is a pretty big player, and I know I'm all for more regulation. I am, especially on the exchange side. You need it for fiat deposits and withdrawals, but at the same time, I don't want to see one of the biggest players in the space gets like specifically targeted. I don't really think that's good for anyone. In the short term or the long term, really. But yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds because, news like this has come out before for other exchanges and stuff like that. And then a few months later, no one even remembers and everything's still working just as it always has. But who knows? Maybe this time is different.
Maybe. I mean, it shows that them growing too fast is just catching up with them now, though. I mean, they were moving so fluidly and not really complying that eventually regulation is going to get you. And that's a bit of a warning to all other projects, all other exchanges that, if you're not complying, eventually it's going to get you. And that's why we, champion fundamentally strong projects that are maybe leaning more towards compliance, because you understand where the game's going, But I think but we had the Clear Junction news recently, which was like a couple of days before, sorry. We had Barclays stopping UK clients from sending funds to Binance. They said to keep users' money safe, which is what it is. We had NatWest. So NatWest is another big bank in the UK, capping transfers to crypto exchanges. So they said it was because of scam and fraud concerns. That's why they're capping deposit limits.
Oh, yeah, yep.
And it's not just Binance that was including Binance, but there was also other exchanges that they did that as well. Then we had the Cayman Islands, regulators investigating over business activities in the area. We had Singapore cracking down on Binance. We had, what did we else? So this was all from the FCA, right? The FCA basically come out and said, Binance do not have the authorization to conduct operations in the UK, and then this is where all of this fallout is coming from. But then it spread far wider than the UK. We had Ontario, so what's that, Canada?
Yep.
Cracking down as well. Singapore cracking down. We had Cayman Islands. We had Thailand. Just everyone jumping on, and it seems like it hit. You're waiting for one bus and then 10 come along at once. So trouble for Binance at the moment. Some issues. So I guess the question is it as big of a deal as it seems, or
I would say yes. I would say yes and no. I would say there's definitely a bit of noise in there. There's definitely a lot of like publications and news articles that come out really with like, sometimes it's just like a proposed bill, or they're like taking a look, or it's nothing too serious. But on the same time, it seems like it's a lot at once. And I'm not sure if it's going to slow down or speed up. I think in the next few weeks is probably going to be like the deciding kind of factor. We see, if a few weeks go and a few months go and all of a sudden it's, show goes on, as I was saying, then probably just noise again. But it's just so hard to tell. I mean, I definitely think they're on a, they're probably like target number one in this space. Not because they're doing anything I don't think they're doing anything overly fraudulent. They're just a little bit too loose, like they're allowing billions, like literally tens of billions of dollars traded on their exchange. People all over the world can use it. So it'll be interesting to see how it folds out. And
when you have exchanges acting compliantly and then you have these guys not, and then they're running away with it, it is unfair. It is unfair. There has to be a level playing field there. But we had CZ come out with an open letter talking about all of the issues that have come up recently, and essentially saying, compliance is something we're working towards. It's just it's an ever evolving thing, and we will get there. And so all the things that you would expect someone to say who's in trouble with regulation.
Yeah, I mean, and the other side of the spectrum too is like the reason Binance is so popular is because you do have a lot of people in crypto who like trading, high volume alt markets without having to put their names and stuff like that. It's a bit like, there's a few other exchanges do it where like they don't have much of a KYC limit at all. Most people in crypto, well, a lot of people in crypto, especially the early guys and, the big money, some of them like to stay anonymous. Yeah. And so at the end of the day, if Binance locks up that, like where do those guys go? You know what I mean? So it's another interesting thing to ponder.
Yeah. And look, let's not get it twisted. They're a good exchange.
Yeah.
It's a good exchange. It's easy to use, and they have everything there, and they do everything right apart from compliance, which is the issue. So
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely trying with like they tried to launch the Binance US thing, but it's just yeah, as you said, I actually agree. I actually really like Binance. I don't think, as I said, I don't want to see them go down. I don't think that's going to be good, literally for anyone. Really. But at the same time, the rules are there, and these payment guys are either doing it. Well, I mean, it depends because like NatWest and Barclays saying, or was it Barclays that were saying that you're not allowed to do it to protect your own money? Like that's, it's coming from a bit of a different angle. The AML laws and stuff like that, I can kind of understand, but the gambling side seems a little bit edgy to me. Anyway.
Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out. That's probably going to play out over a long period of time. But
yeah,
pretty big news. Ethereum hard fork. So Ethereum's London upgrade deployed to final testnet ahead of August 4th fork. So I think this was delayed. I'm not sure. I might be wrong about that. But I think this got pushed back recently to August 4th. I think it was supposed to happen this month. Again, I might be wrong. But yeah, talk a little bit about this, Luke.
Well, it's kind of a big deal because, I mean, if you've been in the space a while, big hard forks like this usually run up a bit of hype going into them. A lot of the time, it's a bit of nitty-gritty protocol stuff, nothing that really changes from the supply-demand investor side of things for the market. But Ethereum's London upgrade, which is what they've got it called, it's been deployed to all 3 testnets, I believe. But I think the one that most people are looking to see come into play and how it's going to work in the ecosystem is the EIP 1559 upgrade. And for those of you who don't know, it's basically a protocol within Ethereum that burns a certain amount of the gas fees permanently. So essentially, what you have is you got miners at the moment are actually making, well, at the height of the run at least, we're making more money from the fees from Ethereum transactions than the actual mining the blocks. It was just an absolute behemoth. If you were around, literally a month or two ago, it was like hundreds of dollars for Uniswap transactions. Essentially what this is, this one, and I don't think it'll really affect gas prices at all. At least not initially, maybe on the long run. Yeah, well, it's not really going to reduce the gas, as far as I understand. It's not going to reduce gas fees. It's just going to burn it. So it's kind of like a supply reduction because, again, if you didn't know, Ethereum doesn't have a hard cap for supply. So, there's, people were saying, well, why are you buying something that's like forever inflationary? I guess this is like the first step from the Ethereum community to kind of show that, hey, look, we're introducing like a deflationary mechanism. And I mean, we're not talking small numbers either. It'd be billions of dollars a year or hundreds of millions of dollars a year burnt in Ethereum. So it's pretty exciting, but we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see how the market plays it too, because as I said, we usually get a bit of a bullish narrative coming into it. It is, under a month away. I'm actually going to be in the snow when it launches. But, I know. Exactly. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
So it's the transition from proof of work to proof of stake, right?
No, I don't think so.
It's not?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, I thought that's what I heard.
That's like I think that's ETH 2.0 is when that kind of like starts.
Okay.
Yeah. I think this is just a hard fork for the current ETH 1.0 or whatever. I think ETH 2.0 in the proof of stake is probably going to be a while until we really see it like flourish. In my opinion, I don't think it'll be like an instant thing in the coming months, but we'll see.
Okay. So we have here EIP 1559 aims to reduce transaction fees through a somewhat controversial method. Instead of the user having to send a gas fee to a miner for the transaction to be included in a block, EIP 1559 proposes that gas fees to be sent to the network. So a little bit of change in the way they're going to be operating there.
Yeah.
And so is it? So I read that E1559 essentially means that they're moving to a more deflationary method, which means better store of value, obviously, but less profit for miners. So that's why miners are not happy. Is that right?
Yeah, essentially. Again, it's kind of like almost like a political thing now. Like you got people on both sides saying, like miners won't lose revenue, and then you got the miners saying we will lose revenue. But at the same time, you've got people saying, the miners should be incentivized for like the longevity of the network. And this is, from an investment standpoint, deflationary thing is usually good. So yeah, it's kind of a contested point. But that's why I think it'll be interesting to see it launch and see what kind of statistics come out. I mean, there's always fantastic people all over Twitter, diving into like the chain analytics and like what people are paying and how many fees are burnt and all that crap. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see.
yeah. Obviously, mining's super lucrative for these miners, but they're making it possible that you can tip miners. Who's going to do that? If it's possible, but you can put a donation button anywhere. It doesn't mean people have to use it. So
yeah, exactly.
We have to see how that plays out. So August 4th, the London hard fork will occur on August 4th, 2021. So do you think there's a bullish narrative going into that, or do you think we'll see?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. I think historically there has been, and we haven't really seen one for Ethereum with a deflationary mechanism in place. So I do think there should be some underlying bullish narratives, but at the same time, the market is just brutal right now.
Yeah.
And so I don't think Ethereum is going to pull any hats out of the bag, but we might see a bit of strength on the ETH BTC pair. We'll see. It'll be see. Actually, talking about the miners, just a quick one. I saw that another thing that's kind of been flying under the radar at the same time that I saw was that someone had produced a smart contract script to like reorg the Ethereum blockchain for like 6 blocks back. So essentially what they would do is profit off it by like bribing, essentially like paying a bounty to a miner to reorg the blockchain back 6 blocks so they could profit from it, and the miner would get a reward for doing so through the bounty. But obviously you could see why that would have pretty big widespread effects on the Ethereum network if that was to happen.
Yeah.
But I think I wonder what the guy's name was. Anyway, I might post it on Twitter on the Roundtable thing once we post the video.
We'll find it.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was a little bit scary at the same time, but see what happens there.
Well, big things happening. Big things happening. Christine Lagarde.
Yeah.
Christine Lagarde. Hey, she did it wasn't really an interview, it was more just a video, really. Talking about central banks and digital currencies. And she said, quote, "There are at least 80 central banks around the world currently looking at digital currencies." So central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. We feel it is a duty of us to have available digital currencies that would operate in the benefit of the consumer. So 80 central banks, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
That is a lot. That's a lot of money.
It's definitely, yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. I'm not one to think that it's going to be anything immediate. China's moving very fast. I mean, everyone's moving way quicker than I thought they would be moving. But
why do you think that is? Because that is strange. It feels like I don't want to say a rat race, but
yeah,
it feels a bit like everyone's trying to rush now to get to the point where they can push out a CBDC, and maybe it's just China. I mean, China are really at the forefront of all this.
I think it's a little bit of wow, this is something that is not only useful for the government, but could also have wider use cases for the the populace. But at the same time, I also feel like it's a little bit of it's the flashy thing. If we don't do it, we're going to look bad almost. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's probably a lot of pilots out there that really don't have like a good chance of launching anywhere in the next 5 years. But, they've got like a working group or, they've got a research group. A lot of those smaller countries, I mean, maybe be able to move quicker. I'm sure like El Salvador kind of like flick the switch with Bitcoin, it's definitely possible. But at the same time, we're talking about like a network that's going to be handling like quite literally like billions and billions of dollars and, tens of millions of consumers on the one network. So it's going to be like a lot of testing and, all that jazz. But yeah, it does feel like a little bit of a space race for CBDCs, but I guess that's not a bad thing.
No, not at all.
No,
I don't think it's a
bad thing at all.
I mean, she said something really interesting, which is, to me, it's strange. Maybe you can make sense of it. But she said, so they did a consultation and a bunch of the consumers, they said a large amount of consumers said that we want our privacy to be protected, but we don't want anonymity because they understand the risks of I can't say that word. Because they understand the risk of anonymity. Fuck's
an
sake.
anonymous.
Right, I'm
No, I
gonna
can't do
no,
it.
no, I'm gonna do it again. We want our privacy to be protected, but we don't want anonymity because they understand the risk of anonymity when it comes to digital currencies. I don't really understand that, and I don't know who would fucking say that, right? Like, I
Yeah.
want privacy, but I don't want anonymity. Like, can you make sense
Yeah,
of
that
that?
is an interesting one. Not really. That's a tough one, especially if they're talking about like a CBDC,
Yeah.
because you can't have privacy without anonymity.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, I mean, I guess you can, if they introduce like Z snarks and all that snaz. But yeah, that is a very weird statement to say, because what does that mean? You can send a payment with your name tagged on it, but you don't want them to see how much or something like that. I
Yeah.
mean, what does that even extend to when they're talking in that context? So yeah, that'll be interesting.
It's strange.
I guess it comes into this whole, is it for the greater good, or is it, the greater evil, the whole CBDC thing? I think that's a very contested political point right now as well, especially in the crypto space. You got a lot of diehards, but at the end of the day, these guys are, they're going to do it regardless. It's inevitable sort of thing. So
Yeah, I mean,
it's
it's either positive or it's either the mark of the beast. We're working towards
yeah,
some weird
true.
dystopian future, and who knows,
Yeah,
man?
yeah.
Who knows? Maybe we're championing something pure evil, and we just don't know it yet. That'd be something, wouldn't
I mean, potentially,
it? Oh god.
potentially.
Oh god.
But at the same time, I mean, as I was saying, it's an inevitability. I mean, they're going to be trying to look out phase out cash, like that's just like their number one priority, in my opinion.
It's already really it's already happening. Like I've been to a few places recently in the UK where they're just like, we just don't accept cash, like straight up card.
Yeah,
card
but that's illegal.
It's weird, man. Like, it's weird. I had cash and it was just like, oh yeah, it's card only. It's like, oh
yeah.
shit,
I
okay.
actually I almost got into not an argument, because I don't like getting into confrontations, but we were going out. I was going out to like a lunch or dinner or something with my girlfriend, I think, and the place said that they don't take cash. And I remember looking at my girlfriend and saying, like, that's illegal. Like the law states in like the constitution or whatever that cash is legal tender and that it can't be refused. And so like technically these business places can't refuse my cash. So, it's interesting that a lot of them get away with that. I mean, I do know why, and they're probably flying out of the, the COVID rug at the moment. We don't want germs and stuff. And I get it. I do. But I do think in the end, they're going to try and wipe out cash altogether, and I do think the digital currencies are going to be traceable. It's going to be way harder to buy that, next bag of weed.
Yeah. They're going to know when you're going and getting a hooker. They're going to know it. Oh, no privacy. No privacy.
I mean, if that ain't the biggest shield piece for Monero or something, I don't know what it is. But...
You want weeded hookers? Buy Monero.
Yeah. No, exactly.
All right. Well, that is pretty much the biggest things that happened this week. We're gonna crank this out once a week, and try and cover all the news so you guys are in the loop, so we stay in the loop, and all of that jazz. So obviously, if you've made it this far, you like this type of content. We have our first guest interview hitting this week. Something we're really excited about. We may even announce it beforehand. It should show what we're really about here, what we want to do, and the sort of guests that we want to highlight and talk to. So look forward to that. It should be either Friday or Saturday. We're still working out the scheduling, but we'll get it down, and we'll make sure it's a bit more concrete on the days, so you guys have content every week. You know which days it's going up and all of that jazz. So anything else you want to say, Luke?
I was just going to say, because you mentioned that we're going to try and do these weekly wrap-ups every week or so. If you guys have any topics that you really want us to talk about, obviously time limited, throw them in the chat in the Roundtable community. Because, we want to talk about what you guys are interested in. So, if we get a few people suggesting the same thing, or a few people rally behind the same kind of topic, we'll definitely touch into it, because, there are some quiet weeks in crypto, obviously. I mean, especially in this market, I feel like people are just almost magnifying glassing every little piece of news or event, because it's just so boring at the moment. But yeah, that's it from me, I guess. Thank you. Is there anything I'd say?
Awesome. All right, well, we'll see you next time, guys.
All right. Catch you later.
Bye.
Bye.